Hi everybody! This is going to be a video that's going to talk about how to create digital card sorts. This would be a great thing to make if you have card sorts that are already existing that you normally use in a classroom. You can make them digital, and then I'm going to show you how to make them on PowerPoint and then upload them to Google Classroom and to Google Slides. So it's kind of nice if you're not interested in making it like super fancy. You can actually make these as like a two-thing card sort. So if you have things you want to sort into two groups, or if you had some that you had three sorts, you can actually save them as templates and then just copy and paste them when you wanted to use them. And so that would free up a lot of time from recreating it new every time. So these are great, and all subjects use these. I'm going to do one today on parallel, perpendicular, and neither lines for algebra, but it could be used for anything in any subject. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to first create it in PowerPoint, and that way I can get all my fonts and style, and I can set it up how I like. Google's a little bit limiting as far as like styling goes, but again, if you're not interested in that, you just want something basic, you can even just start straight in Google Classroom. And then I'm going to take mine from PowerPoint and I'm going to upload them to a Google slide, saving it from PowerPoint as like a JPEG, and then uploading it to the Google slide as a background. So, and then that way, once it's in Google Slides, you can post it on Classroom and it'd be something you could work on in class. And just another thought as I'm thinking about this too, you could even, if you wanted to do this like during a live session, you're monitoring it, you could honestly create one presentation and copy it in, like let's say 30 times, kid put in his right name at the top, and then you could see everyone simultaneously in one document. Or you could even, if you were going to put them in breakout rooms or something, you could say group 1, group 2, group 3, and then you could see them all at the same time. Of course, that being said, then kids could flip around between slides, but you can also see them do that. So that's just an idea on kind of if you want to do it, posting it separate, and I'll show you that when we get there. Okay, cool. I just thought about that just now. So you're going to go ahead and start by opening up a blank document. And I just did clear this off immediately to get rid of stuff. And depending on what you're looking for, if you don't have that many cards to sort, or if they're small or whatever, you could just leave the same size. This particular card sort's pretty lengthy, so I'm going to go ahead and change the size of the PowerPoint slides to like a standard sheet of paper. So the way you do that is you go to Design and then down to Custom Slide. And then I would change this to like 8.5. Or sometimes people do 7.5 by 10. It prints really nice that way. So if you wanted to do that, that would be another option. This doesn't really matter if there's nothing on the slide, but if you were to accidentally, I'm sure no one will ever do this, create everything and then realize that it was the wrong slide size, you can use these kind of options for that. But for this particular one, it doesn't really matter. And that way it doesn't stretch your picture or shrink it. It can reformat it differently. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and insert this text box. I'm making like a title, so I'm going to insert just a shape, and then like my pictures are gone, so I'm going to like go in this other file that I had posted this, and I'm going to take, I like having my colors where there's like a nice palette so it goes well, but again, these are all, that's definitely not everybody's forte. Okay, so I'm going to pick, I like this one, so we're going to go with that, and there's the outline. And then I'm going to insert a text box, and it's nice when you run these side to side when you make your titles. I like working in PowerPoint because it gives you a lot of options for formatting. You can kind of make everything the way you want it, and you don't have to conform to kind of the standards that are in Microsoft Word. All right, so we'll call this parallel, perpendicular, or neither card sort. Okay. And there's a million fonts you can download on the computer. I really like these ones from I Teach Algebra. She has really good ones. They're like hard to find though. There. Okay. We're going to make that a little bit bigger. And you can be like fancy using a cursive with like a nice bold font really makes it pop. So there it is. Okay. All right, that looks pretty good. Looks a little bit big now, doesn't it? Maybe this needs to be a little bit bigger. Nope, too big. So we'll make this a little bit smaller. And then you can use those kind of guiding lines to get the center really nice. There it is, when I'm right in the middle. Perfect. Okay, that looks good. All right, so now that you have that set up, I'm going to go ahead and make the card sort. I'm going to insert a table. And I'm just going to make it 2 rows. You can kind of do what you want as far as how that goes. Let's see, that looks pretty good. And then, of course, like the design, it's totally like up to you, but that I always kind of pick stuff that I think looks better. Okay, and then let me see down. Oopsie. I'm gonna go ahead and do this too, where you can like change the color and all this other stuff. I see so many things. All right, the background here I don't really like. I'm gonna say just white. Okay. And then I'm just gonna drag this bottom one down because this is gonna be where they're actually sorting. Now do I want to get that other thing? You have to get this. There it is. Oh, there it is. Nope. It's like not wanting to listen to me. There it goes. And this is a pretty long, like I said. It's going to depend on like how long your one is. Okay. That's kind of long, huh? Maybe a little bit shorter. Okay. All right. So that looks good, and now it's like all jumbled. Once you get it to kind of what you want it to be, you can watch it over in this window too to see if it looks right. I'm going to go ahead and type in, let's see, parallel, perpendicular, and then either. I'm going to go ahead and make these that cursive one looks pretty good on this. We'll make it bigger. Oops, a little too big, huh? And we're going to center that one. And there is a way. I think if I do this. Format. Is it here? The text position. Let's say center. No, that's like, that was the wrong thing. And sorry, this is like me forgetting how to do this stuff. I probably should have double checked this before I did it. Okay, there we go. Text at the top. Okay, we want vertical, or middle. There we go. We want the words to sit in the middle, and I'm going to go ahead and make them black too. Okay, that looks better. And you can even do like, I'm going to select the whole table. And I'm going to hit, I'm going to change the size a little bit bigger. And then hit all. You can kind of thicken up the lines. It looks a little bit more like an activity. Okay, that looks better. I'm not sure why this thing keeps beeping at me. All right, so let's see. I'm going to make it a little bit shorter. And that looks pretty good. So once you get the basic template, and like I said, you could even, like if you just wanted to make like a 3 card sort just to have a template, you could delete the words off and just save it like that. So you don't have to make it every single time new. All right, so from there, I'm going to go ahead and delete this out. You can make your cards that you want to do for your card sort. And the way that I would do them is, again, I just go to insert and then the shape. And you want to make sure that they're going to fit in the box. And then depending on how many cards you have in a category, you can make sure that they fit before you start duplicating them every time or copying and paste. pasting each one of them. So I'm just going to make like the shape fill white, and the outline, I'm going to make it black. I like to make anything that moves kind of a, probably 3 is probably giving me a little bit less. I like to make it so that it has dashes, just so it's kind of consistent. And I always play around with the weights because sometimes it looks better, a little that looks better. And so that way you can see like, oh, these are the pieces that move. So yeah. All right, so then you can do that, and then just once you make your shape, you just right click and hit edit text, or I think if you double click it works the same way. For these problems, they're like math problems, so I'm going to go ahead and insert equation editor, and I'm going to type them in. Now this one doesn't have, really I didn't really need equation editor because it's not anything fancy, but as far as the text. But also remember that you can change the, if you don't like the equation editor font, you can change it. You hit normal text, and then you go over here, and then you can make it what you want it. I love Century Gothic. So that would be kind of what I would do for that one. And then you could do the same thing. This was negative 2x plus y equals 12. And then so that way, like I said, if you were using, that way sometimes if you don't need equation editor, you don't need to put it on there, and it still kind of goes together, the pictures. Okay, cool. So there's one, so these are parallel. So that would end up dragging there. But I would just go ahead and copy paste, Control C, Control V, and then make each one like that. So I'm going to do one that has like some parallel lines. So I'm going to draw those. Just like a set of parallel lines, and that looks good. And I'm going to actually group these. It doesn't really matter because I'm going to upload it anyway, but I always like to keep them locked together, and so again, they could just move that. And I usually put them out to the side, and you could do both sides depending on how many you have. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. So I'm going to pause the video, and I'm going to go ahead and finish making all my cards. And then I'll show you how to put them on Google Classroom. Okay, so I went ahead and finished up all the cards, so there they all are. And I am going to go ahead and now upload this to a Google slide. Okay, so I am in my drive, and I'm going to go ahead and go to where I'm going to save this at. Oh, this is not pre-algebra. And it's like backwards on the planning. I must have hit it. So this is like lines, let's see, parallel and perpendicular lines. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make it in here. So I'm going to go ahead and create a Google slide presentation, and there we go. Okay, so also if you ever want to do a quick check to see like, well, where did I put this? You can go here and I'll show you. Make sure you're in the right folder, which you are. All right, so I'm going to go back to the presentation, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing I did on the other video, which is I'm going to export it as a JPEG. We'll just do it on the desktop. It's a little bit easier sometimes. Okay, so card sort. Doesn't really matter because I delete these as soon as I write them anyway. If you had multiple slides, you can hit all of them if you wanted to save all the slides as pictures. The thing about saving as pictures, it's not going to save anything here, so it's not going to actually save any of our cards. So we're going to look at it really quick. I guess I have like 100 windows open. Okay, so here is what it looks like. So there it is. So it only saves just a slide. All right, so I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to go to File, and hang on, sorry. Go to File, down to Page Setup, and I'm going to go to Custom, and I'm going to make it the same size, so that way the picture looks good. And so from there, I'm going to go ahead and insert it as a background, and the reason that we do this is because that way students don't wiggle things, right? So they always try to like drag things all over the place. So, okay, that looks good. And done. Okay, so then you can zoom in and look to see if you like the clarity on it. you know, if it looks decent, that looks pretty good. So from there, what you're going to do is you're going to insert the pieces. You can save, file save, like, or right click here and hit save as a picture. And you could do that for each one of these. But usually you can just copy and paste them. Last time the shape was weird in the last video I made. But if I just hit Control C and then if I paste them, there we go. Hey, that looks really good, right? The thing is that on Google Slides, they don't have like equation editor. So it's nice to do them in PowerPoint because if you're trying to do equation editor, it looks good. If you were just writing words, you could just make all of the cards on Google Slides if you wanted. So that looks really nice. It looks like that's like neither anyway, so that would kind of draw here. But you can leave all of these in the margin, and then it literally is just a quick copy paste. You can also hit the Windows key if you're on a PC, and oh my gosh, so many things open. Okay, you can go here and then pull up 2 things at one time, and it's fast. So copy, paste. I could see it popping up right there, even though I can't really see it. If you have 2 monitors, which I don't at home right now, that can help too, because then you can have it and then you just copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. But honestly, it's probably even easier than doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and copy, paste, and then I'll show you how to post it on Classroom. Okay, so now I got all my cards on here, and some of them look like this one you can't really see, but if you zoom in, you can definitely see it. So it might, for these kind of ones, this probably makes sense for you to make like a thicker line, but it looks okay. All right, so now once everything's in there, you got everything pasted, which took me literally 3 minutes. I don't even know if it took me that long. You can go to your Google Classroom, and you go to Classwork and create, and this would be an assignment. So I could call this, you know, like parallel, perpendicular, or neither activity. And I'm going to show you 2 ways you can do this. So 2 ways that I was talking about in the beginning when I just like thought of it. And then maybe it's like not graded, because this would probably be like a classwork assignment, but maybe you pick like a due date of like whatever that day. Sometimes I schedule things for the same day, and that way kids make sure that they get them done before their finished class, or Google Classroom like notifies them. Okay, so that says tomorrow, but that's okay. And this would actually be, I'm going to make a new topic, Unit 4, something I saw somewhere. So it's talking about how you should capitalize your topics on Google Classroom to keep it organized. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now there's kind of 2 ways you can do this, right? So let's say you wanted everyone to do it separately. So this would be like a non-collaborative version, and you wanted to see it. So I would go to add. You wanted to be able to grade them individually. So clicking through each kid, seeing the slides. So you could do add Google Drive, and you could just select it, just like you would if you posted any assignment in Google Classroom. And then you would hit make a copy for each student. Okay, so that would be one way, and then you would get 30 or whatever, how many kids you have in one, everybody would get their own thing. Now, if you were trying to do something a little bit easier to grade, especially since this is a classwork assignment, these card sorts, and as a teacher, it's kind of tedious to click through those assignment drops. So I'm thinking if I was doing this, I would maybe put group, like maybe even drag down in the original slide down, or you could even, I'll just do it this way. I'm like thinking out loud. I could do like your name here, right? And so, or you could just do like your name and then just like draw a line. So they would type their name in. And then what I would do is I would make, duplicate the slides. And you could do that for however many students that you have. So that would be if you wanted them to do it again, still individual. And then what you would do, so let me just like let me do it a couple more of these just so it has like 5. As a teacher, it's easy. Okay, so let me show you how to do it first, and then I'll explain why this is maybe a better option, especially if you're not grading an assignment. You could click on Students Can Edit File. And what that means is that everyone will click into the same document. So everybody will be sitting in this card sort, but you could, as a teacher, could also be sitting in it and could be going through it and seeing how everybody is doing. And yes, they can like click through the slides. You'll see them click through the slides though, because their little person, the little name, letter, whatever, it will like click through. And you could say, hey, you know, whatever, so-and-so, let's make sure we stay on our slide. So you could do that. That would be another option. So as a teacher, honestly, I would probably do it that way. And that way if I'm not grading the assignment, it makes more sense for me to be able to give feedback fast during those times, and that would be something that would be helpful. Okay, another thing that you could do, this would be editable. Unlike these here and the pictures, they can't edit those, but they can edit text boxes. So the other thing would be like group 1, and then you could say like your names, right? And you could have them, oops, okay, you could have them write their names in, and you know, if you had like whatever, however many kids, you don't even have to draw lines. They know, right? Especially if you're in their middle school. All right, so you could do that. And then what you could do is, again, you would duplicate it, and then you would say like group 2, and you could reformat this. I like to do red fonts, honestly, whenever I do anything that I want them to type. You could make it bigger so that way they can see it. But I would duplicate that slide and then just change the numbers. So this would be if you were doing a breakout room. And I've done this actually. I'll send kids into breakout rooms and I've given them this like live document. And again, then there would only be like however many groups you make, maybe 7 groups. So you would have 7 slides. And you could pop into the groups that you saw were struggling and talk with them. Or you could pop in once someone's done and you could say, hey, like you're doing, you know, can you look over it? And you could even show them, right? You could click on it and comment, depending on, you know, how comfortable you are with all that stuff. You could comment on it and say like, maybe look at this one again because it's, you know, not in the right category. Or you could type in, sometimes I type in onto the notes when the kids are working and it's like fast feedback to them as well. So all these are just kind of like strategies. All of that would be kind of a good idea for giving feedback live. So that's probably how I post it. But again, if you wanted to do it as a solo activity and you want to grade it, great. But if you wanted them to do it that way, it is a little bit more trusting. But as again, you want to think about what's the purpose of the assignment? What's the thing that we're trying to get out of this? All right, so then I would post it and that would be it, right? So everybody would have access to it. Again, you can schedule your posting if you wanted it for a later time. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I hope this was helpful, and I hope you have a great day.